It's a question almost every creator has had to face one time or another. Someone looks at you and says, "So, how much does this cost?" Maybe you stalled, maybe you've mumbled, maybe you even started to give away something for free and you instantly regretted it. Now, if you've been there, you're not alone. So many God fearing Christian creatives struggle with this question of charging for their work because it's not just a numbers game for us, it feels like a heart decision. So let's get to the root of why we fear this, and more importantly, figure out how you can show up for the people that you are serving and earn a fulfilling income while you do so. My name is Alan. I am the host and founder of God and Gigs, and this is where we help you to become the creator that you were created to be. First of all, let's be honest. Everybody open up. Share one in the comments, a one in the comments, if you've ever struggled with charging a certain amount or any amount. Have you ever, as a creator, struggled to price or to charge something? Anybody have? I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a couple more things while you guys are answering that question. But I want to know, has anyone struggled with pricing or charging their worth before? A 1 if you have, and a 2 if you have not. Okay? 2 means you're good. I never struggle. I know when I want something a certain amount, I put it in right away. And there was a really funny meme or post on LinkedIn from one of the people, actually the person that wrote Free Money, which is one of the great resources for freelancers on how to charge more. But he put a picture of his daughter, apparently wrote him an invoice. I got a link to this. I'll link to it inside the app, okay, so you guys can see it. And it was his daughter basically saying, "Hey, I did some work. You need to pay me now," and brought out an invoice. I love it. It was hilarious. And yeah, I think once you see that, you'll see that, hey, if 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds can ask for money, then we should be able to as well. All right, so we got some answers. Simony says 1. That means she struggled with pricing and charging. Anita also says 1. So I'm guessing there's some also 1s somewhere else. Those of you who are commenting in other places where I can't see, I'm actually going to grab Instagram real quick. Yeah, I don't see any responses there. But I might be able to see, there might be some on Instagram. There might be some on Twitter as well that I can't see, or X, whatever. So we do know we have some people who have struggled with pricing. So here's the first reason why so many people struggle in the creative world, especially as faith-focused creators, Christian creators. And that is, we attach our value of the product to our worth as a person. The value of the product or the price of the product, we attach it to our worth as a person. Why would that be a struggle, in other words, to charge more or charge at all? It's because we assume as soon as we put that price on a thing, we're attaching it to us. And we feel like literally like this is what I am worth. So it can go both ways. It could say, well, I don't want to charge a whole lot, but I feel like I'm worth that. And then you feel like people are going to think you're stuck up or that you're a big head or whatever because you're charging this much. And that must mean they think you have this big head of how much you're worth. Or the opposite. You might say, oh my gosh, I don't want people to think that at all. I don't want people to think that I'm a big head. So I'm not going to charge at all. Because I don't want people to, I want to stay humble. I want to keep things low. I don't want to be the person that's like charging. So I don't want to be seen like that. So I'm going to keep my price to 0 or tiny because I want people to associate my value, and this is a weird way to say it, with something that is inexpensive and not really that big a deal. Which is kind of weird to say about someone who is gifted in a certain sphere and you've been given a gift by God. Why would you want people to see you like that? But it's because we are scared of what people will think of us, and we equate our value individually with the value of the product. Let me tell you right now, The person who is driving or has bought or has sold, even better, a Rolls Royce, sold Rolls Royce, is neither more valuable or less valuable than the Rolls Royce. The Rolls Royce has its own price because that's the value of it to the consumer. But if I buy a Rolls Royce from somebody, I don't suddenly look at that person and say, "Oh my gosh, you must be, $1 million or $100,000 person because you just sold me a Rolls Royce." I don't equate the value of the car with the value of the salesman. I don't immediately say to the person that sold me this particular, I don't know, you name another thing, a computer. I don't look at the salesman of the computer and say, "Oh my gosh, this computer is cheap. You must be a cheap salesman." I don't do that. I know that the salesperson is giving me a chance to buy something, but I evaluate the product based on the product itself, not on the person selling the product. So many of us as creators, we have to detach our personal value from the value of the art we create. And I know when you get to art, it gets really hard to do this. It's really hard to disassociate your personal value from the art itself because we say, "Oh, well, that's my baby. I made it." But this is what happens. We then either cheapen our art to the level that we feel that we're uncomfortable selling or sharing or charging, or we think we have to charge way more because the only way to validate myself is by charging this huge amount when it has nothing to do with the actual product, piece of art, the thing that you are offering to the world that stands on its own outside of your personal value. So that's the first reason that we struggle with pricing. If this is helping anybody, let me know in the comments because this is where I wanted the meat of the conversation to go. And this is the consult, which means I would love to get your thoughts. Why do you feel like you struggle with pricing? That's the one that I came up with, okay? But before we leave, I would love to see in the comments, especially since we have the people right here. You can see where everybody's commenting there. And if you're watching on replay, by the way, if you're watching on replay, you can also do this. Please share, why do you feel you yourself struggle with pricing and charging your worth? And that was the first one that I shared, was the idea that your personal worth is not attached to the value of the thing you create. You are valuable. Your price is in front of the sight of God. That's it. You're not determined. Your value is not determined by the value of the things you create. Now, as I mentioned, it can work both ways. It can be where you have lowered your prices and you don't want to charge anything, or it could be where you're afraid to charge more because you know that you should, but you feel like it's a dip, not the same. The best way for you to consider this is consider the value to the person that you are offering this to, not to yourself. You are not the determiner. That's a word. You do not determine the value of the actual thing. The consumer does. The buyer does. They decide the value based on what they want. And so now you've got to do the best job you can of matching your evaluation of what this is worth to the customer or the client's value and make sure those things are aligned. Will they always see things where you think they're costing this much and they think it's way less? Yes, that happens all the time. But the question is not about your valuation. The question is about their valuation and whether it's correct and whether you have convinced them that this is something that is worth whatever it is. I hope this is making sense, but I would love to see if anyone else is in the comments. Let me check over here. Once again, I got to check on our Instagram folk. There we go. I want to glance. There are some more friends who have joined us. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us right now on Instagram, I know that we pulled that in the last minute. We didn't even announce it. So if you are struggling with pricing, remember the first thing is to detach from the actual value of the art itself. Even if you spent years and years and years doing it, it stands on its own. The second reason why people struggle with charging and pricing in the Christian community, most specifically in the Christian community, and we talked about this in a new episode that's going to be coming out very soon, is because we forget as creators that we need to let people sow a seed into good ground. If you stop thinking of your particular art as an end all be all, oh, I just get money and that's it. That's not it. When people invest in work and creative work and investing in their own gifting or whatever that is, however they're like interacting with you, they are putting seed in the ground. They are investing in themselves. They are investing into a dream. They're investing into coaching. They're investing into having a fun experience out. They are trying to create something in their own life. And if you don't charge, you deprive them of the chance to invest into themselves. And we, again, start to think like, well, if I'm charging them, I'm giving them a cross, I'm making things too hard for them, or they have to like do this and that, again, all the mental gymnastics we go through. Meanwhile, they want to invest into themselves. They want to do something for themselves. And when you eliminate the price because you're scared to charge, you take that very, very real joy. Yes, people like to spend money. There are people who like to shop. I'm sure I'm talking to some of you right now. You enjoy the act of spending money. You enjoy the act of getting something that you really like. And by not charging, because of this fear, you deprive people of that joy. You're actually depriving people of the joy of getting things. And you might say, well, everybody wants something free. Not everybody. And more importantly, when they do buy, they have a different sensation, a different dopamine rush, a different accomplishment when people buy things. So you have to realize you're struggling because you're seeing this as a one-sided thing where I get money, I benefit, they get a thing, maybe that benefits them, in terms of like getting a piece of art or whatever. But what you're forgetting is the intrinsic value of them making a purchase that they like and want to enjoy, and how that ripple effect works in their entire life. When you buy something that you really, really wanted, it improves your entire mood. You feel like, oh, I am finally moving ahead with this or that and the other thing. You are actually helping people when you charge, not by doing it free. And I don't want to go into this whole why things shouldn't be free, but it's kind of like the other side of the coin. I'm trying to focus on the positive, not on the whole why free is so bad, why people get taken advantage of when you offer things for free. So that is the number 2, okay? Why people struggle, because you're equating your value of your thing to a one size fits all. I benefit and you're trying to think of sales and giving value to people as a one-way thing, like you get the value. No. They actually get a valuable thing, not just the art. The actual act of investing and buying something is in fact a gift you give to people when you sell. And the Bible says this, I want to find the right chapter and verse. So I'm going to look for this up. I want to make sure I get the right chapter and verse of this particular passage, because I mentioned this to some other people. I have to stop sharing again to change. Let's see if I can find that verse. Withholds. See if that's correct. I think I'm close. Yes, that is Proverbs 11:26. Let me read it in the NIV so make sure it makes sense. Just clicked the wrong thing. Sorry, NIV. Where's the NIV? Oh, I guess it's not NIV. Well, the NASB is close enough. Okay, this says, "One who withholds grain, the people will curse him, but blessing will be on the head of him who sells it." I've always loved that verse. Good to see you, Wilfredo, by the way. Awesome to see you, Wilfredo. Jumping in here. Awesome to have some more friends in the building, both from Podfest and other things. Wilfredo, let me know if you're going to any of these other conferences, because I would love to see you. All right. So, as I said, number 3, we got hung up on number 2. But number 3, and we'll close off with this one, why you're scared to charge or why you struggle with pricing is because you're not looking at your own work as a business and as something that actually creates value for you. I know in the last one I said, oh, let's think of the other people. Now you got to think of yourself. What would you be able to do for the kingdom if your income was increased? What would you be able to do for your art career if your income was increased? What would you be able to do if you charge what this valuable thing is worth and then saw, again, new opportunities coming because you could afford more, because you could start to hire people, because you could start to improve your creative stuff, your creative, your creative equipment. You can improve that. If that's the case, charging more is actually responsibility, because you need capital. You need more money. And if you are sharing and giving quality for your work, you deserve to be compensated for it. Okay? I love this. Okay, I see what Fredo says. We tend to undervalue what we do. Exactly. We talked about that a little earlier. We tend to undervalue our own work, which is, again, why you need to be in communities like God and Gigs 360 so people can help you evaluate your work. So I love the fact that we were honest about that. Thank you, Simone and Anita. Wilfredo would also love to know whether you've ever struggled with pricing your work, because this is where we can all share like different things. And you can also, before we finish closing up, please share how you might have overcome that, if you have overcome it. We're going to talk about it more throughout the week and out the year. But if you have got a sense of, oh, this is how I price. Again, let me quickly show you. Let's see if it's here. There it is. This book, Free Money, is a amazing resource for people who want to save, or not save, but earn more money and do a better job of pricing. Is by Austin Church. I'm trying to get where you can see it. Austin Church. There we go. It's by Austin Church there. Okay. And this one is a great book on how to raise your prices. Okay. Raise your prices and to be able to figure it out. Yes, I see that, Anita. It's very hard to know what to charge sometimes. I'm dealing with the mindset. And the mindset, I think, first of all, has to change, where I worry about what people will think of me, and then more thinking about how will this benefit them. Okay. One quick thing, again, this is why the book is so good. Okay. So let me do it quickly get a link. Let me see. Have I put it in the library? I don't think I put it in the library yet. The God and Gigs library. Let me see. You know what I'll do? I will put it in the show notes. I'll put it in the description when I get a chance, because this is not letting me type again inside that. So I can't give you the link real quick, but it's Free Money by Austin Church. Okay. Definitely check that out if you struggle with pricing. And then the other one I would say was a good one for this, if you want to see some more examples of people who are starting to think like business people, would be our book by our friend Christian Brim, Profit First for Creatives. He has a chapter on pricing as well, on like how you have to start to think about your income. And it just changes your mindset. Again, this is all about mindset. If you start to think about, wait a minute, my pricing is not to position myself, it's to position the product in a certain way. God and Gigs 360 is a perfect example. Right now, it's just $10 a month up until September. Then it's probably going to go up. Okay. I'm not telling you like how much, but it is going to go up in September. I know that $10 a month is, even in today's economy, with as expensive as everything is, $10 is not going to break most people's bank account and wallet, right? So by charging that amount, I'm saying something with that price. I am saying I want this to be affordable. I'm saying you have no excuse. I'm saying this is an easy on-ramp to be a part of our membership. Now, as the price goes up, I'm still saying that, but I'm saying this in a slightly different tone. This is still affordable, but this is also getting more and more valuable. So every price increase is letting people know what they are getting and why they should value it. So the price itself speaks to that. Now, I also pay attention to what my competitors are charging. So that is a thing, all right? I don't try to charge way more or way less. I don't want to be the most expensive all the time, but I also don't want to be the cheapest. So I do pay attention to the charging of other consumers or other competitors, but not because I'm trying to be them, because I need to know the community. And this is why I'm really paying attention to other artists. I am getting ready right now to prepare an invoice for a 3-hour to 3-hour event. And best believe, before I even charged the price, I looked at the ticket prices of the event that I am going to make a thing. I looked, because this gives me a window. Is wait a minute, how much are they charging for tickets? If they're charging that much for tickets, then I need to be in that ballpark of my budget, because what would it look like for me to charge like the cost of like half of one ticket for my services? It shows that I don't know the clientele that I'm serving. It shows that I'm not really connected with them, and then trying to be the cheapest in that version actually makes me look bad. And it also makes the product, which is my music, look bad. So there are times that you should charge yourself out of a job. It's okay, because maybe that job is not a good fit. And it's like, okay, if I take this at this route, guess what? People will tell other people what you charge them. That's not something you want going out where, oh, I got them for this much. And they're like, what? You do not want the reputation of being the cheapest. So think about that as you guys are doing your pricing. Think about what the price says about the product, not what the price says about you. Divorce yourself from the need to connect your value with the value of your product. The value of your product stands alone. My friend, thank you for watching this episode. If that blessed you, you got to make sure that you stay connected with this community and this channel so that you can get more where that came from. We're sharing great interviews, tactics, strategies, mindsets, lifestyle choices, everything that's going to help you become a totally confident creative. And don't miss an episode of the God and Gig Show. If you are staying connected to our channel, you'll be able to find us anytime we release new episodes. And you can check out some of our archives of almost 200 episodes now that we've shared over the last few years. Make sure you check out one of the suggestions right now, because it's probably perfect for you to continue to develop as a creative. And continue to stay connected with us, because we're here to help you become the creative that God created you to be. We'll see you in the next episode.